Hey everyone, it's Sly47 here. Yes, you saw the thumbnail. Tiermaker is back, and actually, not just today. I am doing a Tiermaker July and maybe even early August. It's going to be an absolute blast. I thought, hey, let's go through, update all the old ones, create some new ones so that we can bring in the conversation, bring in all the new people that have been on this channel since I made all those Tiermaker videos, see where maybe things have changed or not changed or gotten worse. We will find out, but first off the bat is Legendary Commanders. Let's get into it. At the top, we of course have the best of the best. These Legendary Commanders just utterly buff every single aspect that is needed on these ships and take them to the extremes. They are incredibly powerful, and if you can pick them up, I would highly suggest it, especially if you play those lines. And if you don't, these really do make those ship grinds. But the next line is for those who are kind of, hey, if I might not like them, then I really still wouldn't go up them if you have this Legendary Commander. But if you are happening to go up these lines that these commanders work with and make sense for, then I would highly suggest it then, because they just buff every single part that you're like, I just wish this ship line was just a little better this way. These commanders take care of that, and they make the grind, or the whatever ship you put them on in that grind, so much better. Nice to have. These are commanders that, hey, generally they are going to be better. They work with their ship lines they are on and for. They're not insane, but they're definitely way better than the regular commanders. So I would highly suggest, if you have these lines that they're for, use them. They're great for it. So niche, these are of course commanders that don't really fit on too many, or they fit on multiple, but they don't make sense for being on multiple. I'll get to it when we cover it, but overall they have some unique situations that are incredibly fun to be with and use them on. They're just okay, they're definitely better than the final group, which of course is the greater than regular, that if you have them, might as well use them. I'd even argue that this area is where, if you have a level 12 commander, it might not really be worth it to even grind this legendary commander up. If you have a commander that's already level 12 on a particular ship you want to put this legendary commander on, they're just generally not as worth it to put the effort in for. Okay, let's get into this. Now I'm going to let editing Sly have to deal with this and just start freeforming it. Have fun, buddy, in the editing bay. Let's go over all the old ones, and then let's go to the newer legendary commanders in this game and that weren't covered in the previous video. We have the top tier. We've got BD HMS light cruiser line. Has amazing skills to just take this line to the extreme, especially with the smoke and AP plus, or APCS plus, I should say. Amazing. If you got BD, go up the light cruiser HMS line. It is just absolutely insane. Now, Cincinnati, top tier in here, when in reality, he only really has one skill that really truly helps, and that's, of course, Sap Plus. Basically takes the Venezia to almost pre-nerf levels, and the Christopher Colombo to just actually be able to just shoot straight up Sap all the time. Cincinnati works so well, especially with the fuel smoke and everything. It's a great commander to pick up for pretty much any of the lines, and the newer Italian commander just not even close. Not even. I wish Cincinnati and Lacino were much better. Sorry if I'm slaughtering those names, but of course, yeah, it's gonna happen. I've got too many notes now. Philippe here, absolutely amazing French commander, basically works on all of them. That's how crazy he is. Now, his skills that are specifically needed are very high up there, so you're going to have to grind in order to make him and get access to those amazing skills. But the Master Reloader and the Engine Boost skill absolutely take just and help out every ship that is French, pretty much, and just works so well. Definitely would suggest Philippe here. Absolute killer of a pick, and I've been working so hard to get him pretty much, and only got him recently, so now I'm slowly trying to grind him up, but definitely worth it. Works on pretty much every single line. I know for me, going on Henry, but a lot of people would go on Republic, and the crazy people would put him on Kleber. So Kincaid right here, Kincaid just works on either of the U.S. cruiser lines. Just works on either, because technically both of them have radar, and he bumps their AA, he buffs their HE, just absolutely buffing everything that those ships desperately need, and in the best way possible. I would highly suggest it. If you're going up either of those lines, Kincaid works on either of them. He's great for it, and the additional radar in the Des Moines is absolutely hilarious to watch DDs go, wait, they used one. Crap, he has another. Absolutely killer. Now, on to the next line. We've got Dewey with Makes the Line Work. Now, of course, these are the heavy U.S. battleships. Absolutely crazy good on them with his unique skills of basically cutting the precise aim in half, but giving you more of them and reloading faster. Absolutely helps you get those amazing salvos from the insane alpha of the Kansas, Minnesota, and Vermont. If you have them, definitely makes the ship line work, especially with how tanky he makes those ships. It's nuts. It's nuts, and I really do wish to pick him up for my Vermont because, of course, very disgusting. Swirsky, we got the EU DD commander right here. Helps out reload your radar faster and just buffs everything else that the ship desperately needs, including additional radar, if I'm remembering right. There's a lot of commander stuff that I have to remember here, so hopefully you're okay with me screwing up a few times here and there. But Swirsky, if you have him, go up the EUDD line if you minorly like DDs, because he just makes the line feel so much better and just buffs it in the right ways. Jellicoe. Now, Jellicoe, you're going to have to want to go down the Goliath line, but if you happen to have Jellicoe, the Goliath line becomes incredibly to that playable to niche area, just absolutely buffing those 4 heals that those ships have, buffing the HE, which is already nuts, and just generally giving the right buffs for a heavier cruiser player. Now, highly would suggest it, though, of course, if you want to play the Goliath line, but yeah, Jellicoe, overall, great commander. Highly would suggest him if you are going down there. He does work on a few other, especially the HMS battleships, kind of can somewhat work, but doesn't work as well as our next one, Horacio Nelson. Now, Nelson works really well on HMS battleships, giving them the right heal, giving them better accuracy, giving them, IFHE plus, which of course then just takes their HE from going, to being better than average and pretty good to absolutely nuts, and just worth it on so many ships, including like the Thunderer and a few other ships that are now actually out in the premium shop. Just Nelson does a great job on that. So nice to have. First one up. The problem is that this ship line kind of is rough in general, and he doesn't fix everything. And that's kind of the problem with his skills, is he doesn't have anything special. And that's one thing you're going to kind of notice in the nice to haves. A lot of them, like, I know BD doesn't really have anything special, but he buffs the right things. In the nice to haves, you'll find yourself not taking those particular skills that these commanders have. And Dane just has that where he literally has, I think it's like 3 skills you're just not going to use. So what is he for? Maybe the cruisers eventually? We'll find out. Hipper. This is the offensive German legendary commander. If you want to have a balls to the walls, absolute wrecking ball time, just going in and doing a crap ton of damage, really surviving, but you'll do a crap ton of damage and maybe you'll take a bunch of people out with you. Hipper is right there for you and constantly on sale and constantly in bundles. Great pick, especially for the cruisers and the battleships. Mikawa. Yeah, his skills help the Hargumo line, but they don't really make them worth it. But they help, though. They like, there's one skill I think that gives an additional torpedo reload, which is pretty clutch at times, but overall it's not exactly needed. But definitely, once again, nice to have. Next up, we have Yamamoto, which of course for the Yamato grind absolutely does help it. The Yamato line is already pretty good. Yamamoto doesn't make them any better, but he doesn't hurt at all either. And in Borderline, sometimes makes certain situations where you can definitely win more, especially with the Citadel Strike Plus and APCS Plus. he does help. He does. But not going to change or make the grind that much better. Now, we've got Sheer, the defensive version of Hipper. Absolutely great if you're instead wanting to take those German battleships and make them just absolutely tanky. So if you want that, you can, but of course, not going to change up how fundamentally those ships play within the meta. Now we have Gorshov for the Russian light cruiser line. Helps absolutely with that extra radar. Everything else is kind of okay. IFHE Plus does help certain ships in that line, especially the Shores and the Chapayev, but the Nevsky, it doesn't really help it as much. If I were to get him, I definitely would put the time in to grind him up and get him back up, but I already have a level 12 commander on my Nevsky, so it would be a hard toss-up. But overall, that additional radar can be pretty clutch once again with Kincaid. But if it was APCS Plus, Gorshov would be in top tier in my opinion. On to the niche, we've got Cunningham. Now, this is a hybrid commander between DDs and carriers, specifically with the 100% reason to knock out someone's engine with torpedoes, which is kind of broke. I'm not gonna lie, but you do have to hit a particular part of the ship in order to actually have it activate. Overall, though, Cunningham, pretty solid commander to have, especially if you are going down either of those lines. But once a more dedicated captain comes out for each of those, he might drop down in tier. So now Halsey. This commander is for those who like living a little bit in the danger zone.
Danger zone.
Now, he's absolutely nuts when you get the low health. He's absolutely nuts on US DDs that have torpedo reload. Outside of that, not really applicable on many ships. So he does help when you're about to die, but that's really about it, and or he helps you when you have torpedo reload, but those are pretty rare ships. So it's just, he's incredibly powerful on the certain ships that make sense. Des Moines, Puerto Rico, even Montana could be argued. Not necessarily Vermont, but I could see some people trying to mess with it. But overall, Halsey has his particular ships that he works incredibly well on. I highly suggest it. I know I have him on my Cleveland commander. Perfect position for him, at least in my opinion, but just his skills, increasing damage, increasing reload, giving you a torpedo reload, doesn't really work on all ships, but it is still, like, he's still a niche fun commander when those skills activate, because, dear lord, you can pump out a lot of damage when you have faster reload and increased damage. So, now onto the better than regular legendary commanders. These are, ones that if you have them, you might as well use them, but they're not going to change up, they're not going to fix the ship lines they're supposed to be on. They help, they add that 1% that if you really want that, you can, but if you have a regular commander already on it that's pretty high level, I really wouldn't put the work into it. So we have Ozawa, kind of a DD carrier hybrid captain. Overall, not bad, but it just, once again, not fixing either of them, and we should have a dedicated legendary commander for each line. There are dozens of commanders in history that could work for either of these. Make it happen. Wargaming, make it happen. Come on. So Kuznetsov, the biggest problem with Kuznetsov is that basically for the ship lines that you have him on, especially the Russian battleship line, I think it's like half his skills just don't even make sense to grab. They just poorly positioned, very basic. He's got this bulletproof skill that actually is worse than horizontal deck protection. So yeah, it's literally arguably, hey, you're maybe getting one or two extra skills that you actually use. Outside of that, he's just not worth it. Jujard, I really wish he had a skill just like his, I think it's Fly with the Wind skill for the engine accelerator, but for Master Reloader as well. He could have been really good. The problem is he doesn't have that Master Reloader skill, and pretty much that's what makes or breaks these lines, especially for French commanders, and Felipe is right there and just way better. So highly would suggest staying away from Jujard. If you have him, better, but if you already have a regular commander up there, you're not going to notice the difference. Hirohito. Okay, so let's take one of the worst ship grinds, or one of the most niche ship grinds, I should really say, the Japanese cruisers, and give them all the wrong buffs. That's your just don't. Almost none of the things work. Yes, he's IFHE plus, but in reality, you shoot your guns in these ships and you kind of just. Anyways, so he doesn't really matter. Now let's get to the new legendary commanders. Now we have Laciano. Now this is a nice to have commander. Reason is SAT plus. Every other reason is that that's basically the only skill he offers to help out the Italian battleships. Came out at the same time as Italian battleships, but in reality, probably is actually going to work better for Italian DDs when they come out. So yeah, just gonna be nice to have, especially because of that SAT plus, but you have to work your entire way up there in order to get it. And yeah, he's borderline better than regular, but because of that SAT plus giving that right bonus, it's powerful. Just that one skill, but everything else, it's not really. Luton's nice to have overall. Not a bad ship commander to have. Like for the German carriers especially, he's got the increase of the AP bombs. That's absolutely nuts for them. And increases, I think it's also AP gun damage, so it can help other ships kind of. But he's just nice to have. He definitely is not needed, but will help. Will generally help. So I'm not gonna be mad at that. Von Spey, now amazing. Came out during the Elbing line introduction. Way better for the Z52 line. That's the problem with Von Spey. Just no, just marketed poorly, but overall nice to have. Helps out where he needs to, but very basic skills, nothing very special on that. Now we have Ruder, which is, or however you pronounce the name, sorry, Ruder, I don't know. Either way, just barely better than regular. Unfortunately, these ships need a lot of love. The Dutch cruisers have some minor issues. It does help out with the AA. The problem is the base AA kind of sucks. Like, they're going to drop the bombs. They're not going to survive their way back, but they're going to still drop the bombs. So they've already done the damage, so why did they care? Doesn't really help. He's also bugged right now, so hopefully they fix that eventually too. But even then, no, just not as good. Now we have Sims. The only reason why Sims is in nice to have and compared to better than regular is 6 cents for USDDs, which is absolutely amazing with them. You know exactly how many people are looking at you, so you know when to smoke up because you can use those smokes now. You can just absolutely have a greater situational awareness with them. So Sims is absolutely perfect for the USDDs, and I absolutely love his inclusion. I'm looking to pick him up eventually. Hey everyone, Editing Sly here. Thanks to the Patreon supporters for actually noticing an issue, and I'm slapping this in. We have Makarov, which actually, unfortunately, is a very good commander, and surprisingly that I missed him. Works for the Russian heavy cruiser line, but with the skills of APCS, horizontal deck protection, better precise aim, better torpedo detection, it just works on. He just works on every single Russian ship, pretty much, where you could work this into even DBs, technically, but it'd probably be better on the Nevsky, the Pietro line, and the Kremlin line. All of them work better, so much better than the Kuznetsov, and in my opinion, Makarov is a top-tier commander just because all of the skills he has is applicable for so many of the Russian lines. You can make him work on just about every single one of the Russian ships, so sorry for this, and thanks again to the Patreon supporters for spotting this. So that is it for the Legendary Commander Tiermaker. These are my thoughts. Of course, there will be a link down below for the Tiermaker list. I'd love to see your own, see exactly what you would agree, what you would disagree on. Now, for me, I would really love some of these better than regular commanders to get buffs, to get changes, to maybe get a specific skill. I really do like Legendary Commanders with a unique skill, but when they are just very basic, and or the unique skill doesn't really buff or help anything at all, it really doesn't make sense, and it is really sad that we can't have them all at least in the nice to have. But if they're just better than regulars, of course, if you're just starting out the game and you happen to have them, they're going to be better, but yeah, that's about it. But this is my list. Can't wait to see your guys' list down below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, hit that notification bell if you want to see whenever a new video on this channel goes live or when I start streaming. It's always a blast to have everyone on there. If you haven't, check out the Linktree link down below. Join up on Discord. Of course, if you haven't, it's a blast over there. Add in Patreon if you want to help support the channel for $1 to $5. Definitely helps out grow this channel even stronger. But once again, just hitting that like button helps out a lot, and it's completely free. So love it if you could. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day. Peace.